Hey, what's happening, all you Shaman King fans out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and welcome to another episode of What's the Difference? A series where I look over the various differences between adaptations of a specific series. With this one, I'm specifically focusing on Shaman King because of the new release of the 2021 version of this story. Last episode, we covered episode 1 of the new series, which translated over to about two and a page of the original manga. That was the first two chapters and a little bit of, I believe, chapter 6? No, chapter 5. The end of chapter 5. Whereas with the original series, it ended up kind of melding together the first two episodes of the original anime series. So that would be for the manga, that's The Boy Who Dances with Ghosts, The Waiting Samurai, and a little bit of the end of Samurai Bodyguard. Whereas the original anime was The Boy Who Dances with Ghosts, Episode 1, and Episode 2, The Waiting Samurai. Basically, they condensed together the story of Manta's first meeting with Yo and the fight with Ryu, as well as the backstory of Amidamaru and his sworn brother Monosuke, and a little bit of the introduction of Tao Ren. And I'm kind of wondering if that might be because of the fact, because they skip over about, both anime skip over two chapters of the manga, and that's namely called Soul Boxing and a lot of Samurai Bodyguard, except for, like I said, the last page. I feel like a Soul Boxing, well, unfinished billboard, Soul Boxing, and Samurai Bodyguard. I feel like Unfinished Billboard was skipped over. A lot of that was skipped over because of the fact that there are a lot of mentions of deaths of young kids. Basically, you get to know a lot of the ghosts who haunt Yo and Manta's school, and they died in various different tragic ways. One stayed up too long and died because of that, like 15 days without sleep. One ended up getting sick and dying before a piano performance. One was overly stressed and committed suicide. So, yeah, I wonder if that's the reasoning behind why they kind of exclude that chapter. But that chapter, the unfinished billboard shows off that there's a lot of risk to his own physical well-being. There's a lot of undertaking for the job that he does, and a lot of the things that he sees that Manta, with his level of spiritual awareness, isn't able to perceive. So you get to be introduced to the struggles of a shaman. Whereas with soul boxing, it's a very missable situation, but it also gets to show off that Yo has a caring for both the living and the dead, and giving a little bit of resolution to those who are in a bad place, but they're not bad people, and the use of spirits in order to help them move forward with their lives. So lots of stuff that was kind of skipped over, but good reason, bad reason, it's kind of hard to say, because a lot of these guys just want to skip to the action of Yo and Tao Ren coming into contact with each other, which I can't blame them for. Tao Ren is a fabulous character. But let's jump into Manga Volume 1, Chapter 6, Another Shaman, Episode 3 of the OG series, Another Shaman, and Episode 2 of the 2021 series, Another Shaman. I love the naming conventions where it's just like, yeah, it's still good titles, so we're just gonna keep it. So let's jump in, and I hope you enjoy the ride. So both series, everything opens up. Manta is late once again. OG series gives a lot of atmospheric stuff, but they're both mostly replaying a lot of stuff that we saw from the previous episode to save on time. Just with a red tinge. That's the kind of funny thing. They're just changing up the colors a little bit. They keep things atmospheric, nice little shots, makes things kind of like it feels like with the original series they were trying to keep this spooky atmosphere going on. And the weird psychotic shots of Tao Ren. It's just like you guys are making this a lot creepier than it actually is. Like almost like Ren is calling out to Manta. It's very surreal. So Manta ends up going up to the cemetery once again. With the OG series, for some reason it feels like Manta was just drawn to the cemetery. With the newer series in the manga, Manta was more or less, oh, I'm late, I'm not gonna make it to the last train, I can just cut through the cemetery once again. So it creates this kind of weird juxtaposition of atmosphere. And I really do love the mysterious nature that they give to Tauren. It's just like, oh, who is this mysterious kid? And whereas, you know, the OG anime series just kind of cuts from there. They keep that mystery kind of like lingering in the air. Like they want to just build up this mysterious atmosphere. Whereas the newer anime and the manga, there's this whole conversation between Tauren and Manta. It's just like, oh, another guy just hanging around in the cemetery. Oh, that's weird. I'm gonna go about my business. But then Tao Ren goes on this massive tirade about, just how he feels that people have polluted the skies. You can't really see the stars. You know, uh, despite the fact that this is the best place to stargaze, it's just like, but you're not seeing the true stars. And it's kind of true to a certain extent. You can't really see the true scope of the stars above if you can't, and if because of all the pollution and stuff in the air and light pollution as well. But I love the fact that the fact that Tao Ren just shows up to Manta. And a lot of that comes from the fact that he just knows that Yo is affiliated with Manta. And, Tao Ren is trying to get Manta to be his hype man, to be this guy who just builds him up to Yo. It's just like, tell Yo I'm coming for his ass and all that good stuff. So I really do love that little bit of a situation. And both series kind of pick up during the summer, but ah with the OG series you have a little bit of stuff with Yo being like this is a lot of the stuff that came from the beginning of Soul Boxing, the manga chapter where Yo's just working out for no reason and all that good stuff. Weird space to get at. Whereas with the other series, Manta is freaking out a lot more. So it's just like he's training for the he's training in the OG series, whereas Manta is just relaxing there, and the other series Manta is just kind of freaking out because it's just like he's coming to take me tomorrow from you. You should be worried. It's terrible. Rah, rah, rah. Yo is such a space cadet in the OG series. It is so wild. Just works himself into a puddle, damn near dies, and all that good stuff. So I guess, it's. They end up in a restaurant in the OG series. They're walking down the side of the street in the newer series, and in this other series, it's they're chilling out in this restaurant. And a lot of this comes from the fact that this is the OG series is adapting a lot of soul boxing. So that goes back to no, not soul boxing, soul bodyguard, I believe, soul bodyguard or bodyguard. God, I'm getting so samurai bodyguard. a little bit of samurai bodyguard going on here because they're starting to get into the details of how Amidamaru and Yo's situation kind of work out. So, that's another thing that they kind of skipped over is like the nature of how, Yo and Amidamaru kind of live together, their cohabitation. So they're building up the friendship, I guess you could say, of the two of them. And it kind of makes me wonder, why did the newer series cut this out? Did they feel that it was unnecessary to get a little bit more of the depth of the relationship between Yo and Amidamaru? So, very fascinating. Kind of makes me wonder, what's the reasoning behind leaving a lot of this out of the newer series? Did it end up having no bearing? Did they feel that it was unnecessary? Let's get to the fights. And that's the thing about a newer series. It will cut out large swaths in order to continue the narrative at a pace that newer audience can get behind. And I love the fact that Manta has this little bit of consideration for the environment and all that good stuff. And then he runs into Manta again. And now they have the conversation about the stars. Like, the OG series, just like, it makes it so weird because it's just like, why would you have two separate scenes where Ren and Manta run into each other? Whereas with the newer series, it's just kind of like, no, it just happens. And, here, with the newer series and the original manga, you know, they just kind of have a little bit of a situation where Tao Ren gets surrounded by these goons. You know, the little bit of conversation about Yosing saying that people who can see spirits aren't bad people. Adamita takes a particular interest in seeing Bason, the Chinese general, and all that. It builds up how Yo has a bit of a more caring nature. He's not so. What's the word I'm looking for? Critical about certain things. That Yo and Amidamaru have a little bit more of a happy-go-lucky nature. But then you have Tao Ren just running into these punks on the street, as you often do. Random street punks is just a thing. But you get a lot of the disdain that Tao Ren has for people. Whereas in the original anime, Tao Ren's just walking down the street, oh, city pollution, blah, 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 blah. But at least with Tao Ren, it's just like, he just kicked the friggin' guy's car, and they just happen to be a bunch of guys who are just like, how dare you kick my car? So it's, Tao Ren's in the wrong in both situations, but, you know, at least with the OG series and with the manga and the newer series, they show off Ren has a lot of fighting capabilities. He takes these guys down quick, fast, and in a hurry. And whereas the manga and the newer series have this guy deliberately trying to run over Ren, with the OG anime series, it's just that he walked out into traffic like a joik. Like, dude, get out the road. You should at least know by now. And, he summons his staff. You get these cool moments. You get to see him go into Spirit Ball mode, integration, like lots of action in the newer series and in the manga. And in both situations, he cuts the vehicle right in half. Whereas, at least with the manga and the newer anime, it's more treated like, oh, he at least took on the physical strength of Bason. But with the older anime, you never see him take out the pole arm. It's kind of weird. But I like the fact that we skipped a lot of the situation of it was only Manta who saw Ren's skills in the OJ anime. Why would you do this? Why just only have it show off his skills to Manta who can't get a grasp on that? At least with Yo being there and stopping Ren from just straight up killing this dude who, tried to kill him. So, it at least leaves a little bit of ambiguity in the nature of Ren. It's like, yeah, he's a jerk, but then these guys attacked him, so he took them out. Then the guy tried to run him over, so he tried to kill this guy with the pole arm. So there's a decent amount of ambiguity in the nature of Ren in the manga and the newer anime. But with the older anime, it's just like Ren just comes off as a psychopath. He comes off just like a psychopath. It is the weirdest thing. And it's just like now Manta is a little bit more concerned about all this. It's such a surreal situation because they drag things out. That's the thing about older anime. They drag a lot of things out. If you're going to watch an older anime, you need to just binge watch that thing because you're going to have so many repeating scenes, stuff that just happens over and over again. They switch up things in order to elongate stuff, but at the same time, this was coming out at a time when the manga was still running. It was still going, so they wanted that padding. Now you're starting to get the full grasp of Yo, knowing that there's another shaman, and Amidamaru taking interest in the fact that, Basan is a Chinese general and all that. So it really kind of just keeps things running. So is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Was there a way to work around this? The downside of older anime really did come from the fact that it just they wanted to keep the show running. Where at least with newer anime, the thing that I like is that they've reached a point where they know, hey, keep it seasonal. If you don't have content to cover, just don't cover anything. Wait until you get to the manga gets to a good enough point, and then you catch up. Then you can adapt. But I guess with older anime, they didn't want to keep it out of the public conscious for too long. They wanted people talking about the series, regardless of the quality of the storytelling or even the animation. Because honestly, a lot of these still scenes just help to save on animation and costs between episodes. Like another scene where Ren comes off as a friggin' psychopath. Like, they are really trying to make Tao Ren seem like a bad person in the OG anime, which he kind of is. He really kind of is in his initial introduction. He's not really a good person, but they really go the extra mile to just really badly highlight how bad he is. And boom, now they have that meeting in the streets. Like, literally, tell me how there's any benefit from the way that they did things in the OG anime. To have Monte meet Ren once, and then meet him again, and then, he goes to Yo and talks about, hey, do you have a twin? Oh, I don't have a twin brother, which, we know is a lie because of certain situations that the newer anime decided to do, inserting a scene that doesn't happen in later. It's all over the place. But adaptions can be very wild. Is the storytelling of the OG anime better, or is the newer anime style better? We have a different perspective on things nowadays, so it's really hard to tell. Tao Ren really comes off as a friggin' psychopath. I prefer the nature of the newer series in the manga because, there's this escalation where Yo can sympathize with Ren. It's just like, yeah, those guys were out of line, but you don't need to kill them and all that good stuff. So now we move into chapter 7, Shaman versus Shaman. So we're still in the second episode of the newer anime, the third episode of the OG anime, and the seventh chapter of the manga. And you're starting to see the difference in philosophies and how uh, Ren just sees ghosts as tools. Instead of Ren just rolling up on Yo and be like, "Give me a ghost." It's just like, "Hey, I showed you what I can do. Can you believe how foolish this is?" I also love how short Ren is. Like the various different series, the OG series kind of make it seem like they're about the same height, but the other series is just like, nah, Ren is a short shorty. And then he walks off. Then he just walks off. And it's just like, I'll be waiting in a place where you can see the stars. Just have them fight in the street. Just why are you trying to set up this atmosphere? Just have them fight. Let them fight. It's so unnecessary and excruciating. And with the manga, did Manta just go scrambling inside of a building for some reason? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he straight up just inside a building. Okay, so they were watching from the restaurant that they were at the entire time. So Yo just stepped outside to just, deal with this little kid for keep him from killing people. Manta never stepped outside, which makes those engines just like you're not gonna be able to fully hear their conversation from where you're at. So I feel like the newer anime does a better job of just having them all be outside. Like, why do they need to have a discussion about this? Are they just trying to build up the friendship between Amidamaru and Yo? Does it, just keep things flowing? It's really hard to say. Uh, I'm really seeing the downsides to the older anime. Something that I've also noticed is that with Yo in the manga, oh god, Ryu's here now too. But with Yo in the manga, he has his pants rolled up way high, like shorts. But with the both anime, it's just like he's just got long pants and they're a little rolled up. So it's just like it's a weird thing, weird noticeable stuff. They really want to build up Ryu in the OG series because they know he becomes an ally later. So it's like they're trying to get you accustomed to seeing him because he really just doesn't have a presence a lot. But I feel like the OG anime really loved Ryu because they really went the extra mile doing things with Ryu. There's a lot of crazy stuff that they did with Ryu that you'll see later on, but it's just like Ryu in the OG anime series, just crazy, crazy stuff. And then the encounter with Daoren. Whereas in the manga, they had an encounter with this kid who was a boxer, and they all got beaten to shit. But here it's just like, nah, we're just gonna insert Ren into that situation. So they're supplanting Ren for the thugs, for the boxer kid, and in a situation where Ryu and his crew got beat up by some random dude, they get beaten up by Tao Ren, and then we show off their skills and stuff. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense. We have the inclusion of Ryu that we got in the manga, and we have the situation with Ren and the thugs that we got as well. So by just kind of eliminating the middleman, you kind of keep things kind of flowing, I guess. But at the same time, I feel like you could have had the scenes rearranged where you still have the situation with Ryu and his gang, but it happens in the middle of the street. But at the same time, does this disrupt the way that Ren and Ryu become accustomed to each other later down the line? It's been a while since I've watched this because I remember it was kind of weird that there was this encounter early on. But knowing Tao Ren, he'd just be like, who is this guy? He wouldn't remember Ryu, so it's all on Ryu to remember Ren. Ryu's situation in this series is just kind of weird. And Ren does go on these weird kind of evil tirades and stuff. So I guess Yo picking up a metal pipe, or do you prefer him actually having Ryu's wooden sword? It creates an interesting juxtaposition. And it's nice to see Yo kind of mad. Yeah. Yeah, soul fight, soul fight, soul fight, spirit bull mode, integration. Yo, gato. Both all series treat this as a landmark situation. We have Ryu here for no reason, and he's already learning about shamans and shit. Shaman versus shaman fight. Shaman versus shaman fight. Fight, fight, fight. Yes, epic clash. Yes, cool ass combat. And they just go at it. Both versions are kind of cool the way they fight. I feel like it does kind of cut out a little bit of the middleman with Ryu starting to gain his spiritual awareness and all that. I love how invested Ryu is on this. I kind of like that. I kind of like this. And then we get a little bit of Ren's backstory in the friggin' OG anime. It's just like you're already seeing Ren's father. Like, come on, guys. It's so hard to tell because it's. I like the fact that they're integrating other stuff and showing off, giving a little bit more atmosphere. So it's just like in this situation, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of preferring the OG anime just a little bit because you're putting in some kind of cool stuff in here. And then it's just like, okay, playtime's over. We're really gonna do this shit. And Ren in the other series, it's just like he starts to taunt. It's just like, oh yeah, uh, Yo doesn't fully have the power to bring out your full potential. I can. And 100% integration. And so I like the idea that, Ren has trained so hard for this situation where he can bring out the full potential. Oof. Violent. And it's an interesting situation because it's not as bloody in the OG anime. Honestly, I feel like if I remember correctly, there really wasn't a lot of blood in the OG anime now that I think about it, which didn't stop 4Kids from censoring it to hell. But, hmm. Oh, nope, there it is. There's the blood. It just took a while. For some reason, it took a second strike to have the shoulder cut moment. And they're just lingering on it. Oh, and that's the end of the episode for the freaking OG series. God damn. Come on, guys. Come on. Building up that drama. Oh, man. So I guess that kind of moves things into, episode 4 of the OG series, 100%. God dang it. Ugh. Like, to end on a cliffhanger like that, where it's just like, boom, oh no, our hero has been taken down, this is terrible. I mean, it's a hell of a cliffhanger, not to mention it's the way that the manga ended. It ended on that situation, and then it moves into the next chapter, which is 100% integration. So, it's kind of keeping things a little kind of consistent, kind of a little bit, just a little bit. Oh, it's really hard to tell which I prefer. The cliffhanger of the situation with Tao Ren, because, new anime, it is burning through some shit. It is burning through this shit. And then ends up in the hospital. And it just raises the question, why didn't Tao Ren just take his spirit then and there? Like, if you have enough. See, now you're meandering again. You're meandering because it was a great cliffhanger. You should just picked back up with the whole situation. But at the same time, I love the integration with Ryu because it's just like, despite the fact that they got their asses beat by despite the fact that beat their asses, they're already starting to become pals with Manta and They saw the fight and they were just like, that was freaking intense. Oh no, I don't know. It's so hard to tell. I love I love what they're doing with Ryu in this. But it's such a weird situation because it's just like, but that's not what happened. But I kind of love it. I kind of love it. Ryu's just already helping out, and he's such a good guy. And you're already endearing me to Ryu. And his interest in shamans, and just like, yo. I am so digging his interest in shamans to build that up because he becomes an ally later down the line, and it's surreal. Ryu was the one who saved him too. It lengthens the whole situation, but it gives so much love and respect to the character of Ryu. Like, what was it about the OG anime that they just really loved Ryu? They really did. They gave him so much respect in this situation. Ugh. But yeah, no. Tao Red would have just cut them down too, and taken Amidamara. So it's just like, for the sake of the plot, it makes no sense, but for the sake of drama, it's wonderful, and it builds on the later on friendship between Ryu, Yo, and Manta. It's a surreal situation. Uh, mm-mm-mm. On this flashback. So you get a little bit of a flashback to Yo being a young shaman in training and all that good stuff. But, we get this in the newer anime as well. But it's a weird situation because it's just like, why insert this situation here? Why have this downtime? Like, it's like they just didn't want to have a continuous fight scene. They didn't want to spend the budget on that. But at the same time, it's just like, why the frick not? Why the hell not? Why not just keep the action moving? Also, I do respect how sparkly they wanted to make Tao Ren's outfit in both series. Well, the manga and the newer anime. Not so much in the OG anime. There's no sparkle to his suit. But you get the other series, it's just like, nah, his suit's sparkly AF. Like, hell yeah. And Yo's want for an easy life and all that. They really wanted to get into the whole thing of Shaman King. Shaman King! That's the title of the series. Let's make it more prominent. So I guess that's why they wanted the whole situation with Tauren. They really wanted to jump into the whole situation of Shaman King and what they're all about. Have a full on explanation. I won't lie, Yo's grandpa is pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. Yeah. Ain't got much to say about this situation. It meanders on it a lot more in the older series again. Just random scenes of people just doing nothing. Long establishing shots. Again, OG anime done back in the early 2000s. They didn't want to have to animate too much. It's like situations where they don't have to animate someone talking. Like it feels so surreal to have them having these workarounds now because there's no reason not to show these things. But we got so used to this, at least my generation did back in the day. But at the same time, now that newer anime is upon us and all that stuff, it feels meandering. It feels like, okay, come on, wrap it up. Get to the point. Move along, guys. And I still have an appreciation for older anime and the way that it does things. I do love the atmosphere that it brings. They go into a little more detail about certain things, but at the same time, you run the risk of them talking out of their asses. I mean, is it better to have this in the middle of events? Or is it better to have this at the end of Yo's encounter with Ren? No, in both situations, Ren ends up, being the one to jog this memory of Shaman King to the whole reasoning behind his training and all that stuff. Young Yo is so cute. It's just like, I just want to become Shaman King so I can have an easy life. Oh, they skipped out the part where he started beating Yo up. Uh, I mean, if you're gonna have a motivation, might as well be to live an easier life. Ooh, I love that shot of Tao Ren. So good. But the Shaman King really a savior. We have to stop Tao Ren. I mean, I like the call to urgency. It's just like Ren is a bad egg. We cannot let him become Shaman King or he'll plunge the world into darkness and all that good stuff. And Basan is spying on them? What? Why do you need that? Why do you need any of this? And now we're delving a little bit onto the backstory of Tao Ren. They're kind of trying to build up the drive for Ren. It's just like, why is he so hell bent on becoming Shaman King? Why does he treat it like a job rather than kind of like a lifetime hobby? Oh shit, are we actually. Man, I do not remember a lot of this kind of stuff. God, Ren's dad. What a beefy of a chonker. I think they made him his uncle back in the Four Kids version too. Because of the abuse that his dad does to him over the course of the series. It was Endeavor before we had Endeavor. So it was a very abusive relationship. God, you know what? You know what OG anime Ren needs? A sparkly jacket. Just a plain old yellow jacket just doesn't do it. He needs sparkles on that jacket. Don't underestimate the Asakura family. Mm, I like the fact that there's a little bit more gravity put on the Asakura family, like a little bit more depth. Let's find that fool. I mean, I guess it makes a little bit more sense that after almost getting his friggin' shoulder slashed off, he would at least need to heal just a little bit, maybe get some stitches. Because him just going right back into the fight after this, it's just kind of like, No, no, you probably wouldn't be able to do that. And then they get like a pipe, but it's like a laundry poles too. So, come on, get to it. No, it's a laundry pole. God. Hmm. You can only draw out 10% of Amidamaru's strength, but I can draw out 100% of Bason's strength. Bason, get your ass out of here. Amidamaru, help me. Back me up, bro. Yes, reuse your animation, OG anime series. Reuse that animation. And then Ren in the manga and the newer series, it's just like, let's explain exactly why you will never have full power. Like, OG anime series, there was no reason to give him such a long weapon. Just have him pick up a random pipe. I like the more detail that they go into about why the soul integration doesn't work like that. Talks about Amidamaru like a machine. I mean, I guess a little bit more action is better than a lot more talking. Amidamaru is my friend! My nakama! Why does it feel like Ren is playing coy with him here? It's just like, nah, Ren could literally just decimate him if the fight went on this long. I mean, yeah, with a longer weapon in the woods, too many trees you'd be smacking into and all that kind of stuff. Hmm. And Yo just gets his ass wrecked over and over again. God, like, I'm all for seeing Yo struggle, but at the same time, it's just like having this prolonged ass whooping is just kind of like, yeah, come on. Get back into the fight, Yo. You can take this, scrub. Okay, and then the whole situation of Yo trying to tell Amidamaru, move on! Don't be lingered here. If you stay here, you will become a slave. It's a very passionate situation. I like this idea that he would rather Amidamaru just move on if that's going to be the case. Yes, I could really use you. I'd really need you in this situation, but I'd rather you not. If there's no chance of me winning, I'd rather you not be bound to this place and become a vengeful spirit. So I like the idea of that. I prefer the attitude of Yo in this situation a little bit more. Yes. Amidamaru being a true bro. Newer series, their voices are a little bit more subdued, but like it's 20 years later, they're not putting as their voices are a little bit more refined, I guess. Hmm. Yes, yo, unlock the power. Yes, grow, yo, this power. Bam. And he just instantly beats Ren's ass. Just unlocks the power, beats Ren's ass. It happens at various different levels of extreme. But it's a very quick victory. It's just like, bam, beats his ass. He has the potential to be Shaman King, King, to be Shaman King. Ren was defeated, but there are many unanswered questions. What is Shaman King? Who is Yo really? I still don't know so little about shamans. I do wish they had a little bit more of Manta's kind of situation and explanations. I like Manta being the narrator for this series. That we really don't see any of that in the newer series. But the manga did it, the OG anime did it, but we don't get any of that in the newer anime for the most part. It treats it like that was the fun thing. Manta kind of being the narrator, the view of the people. That's what kind of endeared me to Manta. But, you know, let's see, in the manga you get a bonus thing about Wooden Sword Ryu. He was 17 years old, like come on. And you get to know a little bit about the his people and their search for their happy place and all that good stuff. But that was the end of volume 1. Like Yo beating Ren was the end of volume 1 for the manga. that moves things into volume 2. So, lots of content covered. Like, just think about that. I want you to just think about that for a second. The fact that in the span of 2 episodes, the new series managed to cover the entirety of one volume. Like, dude. But then again, they cut out 2 entire stories. Whereas with with the older anime, 4 episodes. So by cutting that out, you saved on a little bit of time, but at the same time, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do I like that they did that? Do I not like that? And then in the manga, Yo ends up in the hospital, because of his shoulder and all that good stuff. And then you get the flashback to when he was younger. So, older series, he ends up right back into the hospital after all of that. It, not gonna cut to that moment just yet in the OG anime series, but newer series is the manga talks about his wound, all that. It's just struggle that he had, but gonna back it on up. Because this is a good time to talk about this. When he was young and trying to unlock this power that he just couldn't. He had no potential back in the day. He was a scrub. He was a youngin' who had nothing in the tank. His grandpa comes off a lot less angry in these other series. It's funny. Just knock him into the water. Yeah, get a nice explanation of what a shaman is and blah blah blah. But the manga goes the extra mile though, because you actually get to see his entire family. You get details about the Asakura family that you don't get in either anime versions. We talk about Yo's grandfather, his grandmother, his own mother. Like, Yo's mother. He's one of the few anime characters who have all of their parents alive. And then we even have his dad. Like, his parents look like badasses. But we don't get much of that. And, like, it's weird that we're not even going into that detail. Come on, tell us about his family. Why not talk about that to some extent? I gotta tell you, young Yo in the OG anime looks weird. Young Yo in the newer anime looks cute AF. Like, he is the cutest little babby imaginable. But in every version, you get the whole thing about how humans are walking this clear path to destruction and this, that, and the other. And I mean, I have to agree with that, at least from my standpoint. We kind of are, but uh, it would take something a lot more than just a few people knowing what we need to do in order to make this change. We as a society would need to change. God, that conversation goes on so much longer. Yep. And that explanation gets him a beating. And in the OG series, he actually explains this to everyone, but not so much in the newer series or in the manga. He just kind of offhandedly remarks, "Oh yeah, I wanted to become Shaman King. That's why I came here to train." And then the arrival of my girl. Yes, the Bay. Screw you, OG anime, for not even including Megumi Hayashibara. But here, like, yo, Anna just comes in, berates Yo, slaps Manta, it's just like, yo, I'm his wife, motherfuckers. Mm. I guess you should see a little bit of how that goes in the other version. Like, does she still do the cool pose and stuff like that? I'm Anna the Ito. I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Itoko? Idoko? Otoko? Itako. Hmm. Taco. Takoyaki. Yeah, Anna then rolls up. I've always loved Anna's design. It's so simple yet so striking all at the same time. Like, dude, that red bandana and that style. She's so cute. She is wicked cute. Dozo. So, a little bit into episode 5 of the OG series. But we're still on episode 2 of the new series, and we're in the second volume of the manga, chapter 9. She's not striking the pose. She's just coming in like a badass. Yes, Yo's fiance. Ooh, that's a wonderful wallpaper. Shaman's ambition. Oh, those colors for Basan are terrible. I'm glad they didn't use it. Ugh, those colors for Basan. Green armor. Ugh. Ugh. And that's where the newer series ends off. But man, OG series wasted opportunity, and Anna didn't come in and slap Manta. She immediately comes off as a friggin' bully. She didn't slap Manta. Anna's legendary slap. Come on, you need to have that in there. Her slap is the thing of legends. Like, you see it in so many anime where the female, love interest character slaps the villain or slaps around another character. You think Nami's punch or slap to Luffy in any series is devastating? No. Anna has a slap that even the main antagonist of this series is just like, I don't want none of that beef. So, but that's it. That's the end of the comparisons. So where we leave things off in episode 2 of the newer anime, that is a little bit of the beginning of episode 5 of the OG anime, and a little bit of the beginning of of chapter 9 of the manga. So, good stuff. It really is hard to tell because, man, the OG anime drug that shit out. They drug that shit out. But it wasn't bad. Certain things were very good calls, at least from my perspective. I like the fact that they incorporated Ryu and started to develop on his shaman powers. Ren is a little psychopath. Yo is a forgetful little bastard, but I love him. But not too many glaring differences. It's just the presentation. The presentation is the thing that really changed up from adaptation to adaptation. I really feel like the manga probably did things the best to my taste, but if you were going to shorten things, a few things that the OG series did I really enjoyed. Like I said, the incorporation of Ryu. Whereas the newer series, it's like they're just trying to rush through things to get to the action. Which, on its own is fine. Just watching the OG anime and just going through things, it's fun. I like it enough. I like how it's doing things. But where you go from the perspective of, really building on things in development and fully adapting the anime, adapting the manga, there's some places where there's cutting corners. And I'm just like, do I like that? Do I not like that? But if you were to tell me that they're just trying to get to the important characters, yeah. But both anime adaptations were basically trying to do that. Oh, we want to hurry up and get to Ren. Oh, we want to hurry up and get to Anna. It's just like, that's how it feels. Like, we just want to get to the fun characters that we know are staples for this series. Because when it comes to this series, Ren and Anna, two of the top characters. A little bit with Ryu, and then Horo and Chocolove and Faust, and man, there's so many characters to get to. But tell me what you thought on all of these comparisons. If you managed to stick around for this entire duration, I want to thank you so much for joining me on another episode of What's the Difference. I hope you were able to enjoy it like I did. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you feel like I could have done some things a little bit different? And I will see you in the next episode of What's the Difference. Till then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Do all the YouTube stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.